gonna marry the short guys. What is Pop the Balloon without drama? Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Can I say something? If this is your first time to be on this channel, can I please ask you to subscribe, turn on your post notification, and so that whenever there's a new video on this channel, you will be notified. Thank you so much. So welcome to my channel and welcome to BM and Arlett's Pop the Balloon or Find Love episode 82 review. Yes, you've heard that right. It is not the main show, but it is a review. Now, we all love Pop the Balloon and we are always looking forward to Wednesday because we want to see the drama. We want to see why most people are single and why they are going on Pop the Balloon and find love. But are they really going to find love? I'm sure if you've been watching Pop the Balloon or Find Love by Arlette and BM, you should know that sometimes you would be shaking your head while watching, wondering what are people even doing there. I love the show. I think it's hilarious. I think it's dramatic. I think it's interesting as well. You get to learn, like I say, but most people are still single. Now, episode 82 to me was really amazing. I think it was clean. I think all the lineups, the men and the women that were brought on this episode are actually very respectful. I thought the gentlemen or the men were great. They're very respectful. They were well dressed, well mannered. They were not too dramatic, and they were not focused on silly things, except one, and we're going to talk about that later on. And the women, oh my gosh, very beautiful, modest, well dressed, decently dressed, like nobody was actually exposing a lot of skin. And I think they were well spoken as well, soft, feminine, and overall beautiful, well dressed. I think they are all career women. They have something going on. Some of them have businesses, some are studying, so they are all up to something. And all the lineups, the men and the women on this episode actually have kids. They're single parents, single mothers. And I was surprised because you know what they say about single mothers and stuff, but the single mothers on this episode, guys, they were great. Like, I just loved the way they carried themselves. I just think they are well mannered as well and very respectful, and they were not dramatic. So this episode was not too dramatic. But what is Pop the Balloon without drama? Of course, there would always be somebody dramatic in there. And please, let's get into this video. Let's look at everything that happened on this episode. But overall, I loved it. What did you think about it? Put it in the comment section down below. And of course, if you watch Pop the Balloon every Wednesday, you know the common thing that is really annoying. It's the initial attraction. Like, somebody commented once and they said maybe the show should be called Initial Attraction because everybody is just popping and popping because of initial attraction. So I wonder, that's why I asked, are people really going there to look for love? Is Pop the Balloon or Find Love? Are you going there to look for love? Because I feel like most of the people that are actually there are just popping on initial attraction. I don't know at the time of filming how it feels. It might be totally different, but I feel like popping on somebody because of initial attraction is just silly. Everything is not about looks. It's also about the mind, it's also about getting to know the person. I feel like the women and men on Pop the Balloon and Find Love should really think of exploring and finding out how the person is and their mind, instead of popping based on initial attraction, like initial attraction is a very, very common thing on Pop the Balloon and Find Love. But luckily, from what I saw today, there was not much of initial attraction kind of thing. I think the only person that popped based off initial attraction is the first girl. Her name was Sabrina, I think. Yeah, she talked a lot about initial attraction and all that, and of course she went home without a match. You know, her reasons for popping mostly were just initial attraction. So otherwise, judging from the whole show today, there wasn't much of that initial attraction kind of thing, which was good. That's why I said episode 82, thumbs up, man. These guys were great. Like, they were really, really great. They know what they were looking for anyways. Yeah. And then another thing is, of course, there's no Pop the Balloon without drama. Like, people popping over silly things apart from initial attraction. Of course, the reasons that people give when they pop the balloon are just silly. For example, Dustin, this guy right there, or is it this side? Yeah, so that guy right there, he says he is an engineer in aerospace and he's pursuing his PhD. That's what he said. He's 35, 2 kids from 2 baby mothers. So he popped because somebody is studying psychology and he thinks psychology is an easy course or an easy degree. Can you imagine? Is there a degree that's really easy, guys? Is it because he's in engineering and pursuing his degree, so he's now looking down on other courses or other degrees? I thought that was irrelevant. That was not a reason enough to really pop on somebody. Like, he should have mentioned something different apart from, you know, the degree, because it's something that he's afraid of. You know, because, you know, psychology works with the mind. Maybe he's got some issues of his own. And then, of course, another reason why he popped was because somebody said they like bed watching, and he thought, oh, that was strange and that. But then the funny thing is that he mentioned that his granny does the same thing. So I was like, dude, your granny does the same thing and you are saying you are popping because somebody does that. I thought that was also silly and really just irrelevant, you know. But you know, Dustin, his name is Dustin Jackson, I think. Yeah, this guy right there. So he ended up matching with somebody, a very lovely girl, I thought, you know, very calm, very well put together, very eloquent, soft spoken. Her name was Sam. Yeah, so they matched. I think it was a great match, to be honest, because they both like the same things. Like Sam, if I'm not mistaken, mentioned that she loves reading, and then of course Dustin, when he was asked what is one thing that about you that people don't know of, he mentioned that he loves reading, that he has, I think he said he has over 100 books, and then he has a book club and stuff. And I felt like, yeah, they are a good match, because that is something that you know, Sam also likes. But my question is really that, what does he think of Sam? I felt that he should have asked more questions, because he said that he's interested in somebody that is at least pursuing a higher degree, not not the first degree. It should at least be a master or a PhD and stuff. And I felt like he should have asked those questions. And I hope when he finds out, or if he finds out, that, you know, Sam probably only has a degree, I hope that it's not going to be an issue. So, well, I loved that match, actually. I loved it for him. I felt, despite his comment on psychology is an easy degree, I feel like he was still okay. You know, he was still a good guy and stuff. He was still a bit respectful. So yeah, congratulations to him for matching with Sam. I think Sam is also a very respectful girl. Yeah, she looks like, you know, a very natural, and she sounds real and stuff. I just hope that, you know, they get along, and we'll see how it goes for them. Yeah. And then another thing, guys, I feel like Arlette should perhaps, you know, bring an episode with just short people. What do you guys think? Like, honestly, guys, it's not fair for the short guys. There was Jeff, the guy with the dreads, you know, I'm going to put him up there. And then there was another one, the one that was in a black cap and a black t-shirt. Those guys were short. And of course, it is Pop the Balloon. It is the height for me. If it's not initial attraction, it is the height. Like, ladies, why are we like this? Who's gonna marry the short guys? Like, it's so funny that even, you know, short girls like myself, I'm short too, like, we would prefer tall guys. Now, who's gonna marry the short guys? You know, because if even short girls want the tall guys, how about the short guys? And to be honest, most of the short guys that I've seen on the show are actually well-mannered. They're very respectful, just like Jeff. I thought Jeff was great. His answers were so detailed. He was also funny. At some point, I felt like he was preaching and he loves God. Isn't that what ladies are actually looking for? But it turns out we probably love bad guys. You know, we ignore the guys just because of the height and stuff, and of course that reminds us why a lot of people are single anyways. But at the end of the day, it's about preference, it's about what people prefer, so we can't judge them on that. And that is also what makes the show really interesting. Otherwise, I feel like if we just get matches all the time, then it would be boring. So there is also another thing that stood out for me. Guys, put it in the comment section below. Like, for those that have kids, even if you don't have a child, what age do you think a child should be for a man or a woman to start looking for love? So Brooklyn, one of the girls, very nice looking as well, very soft spoken, I thought, has a 1-year-old, and she is on Pop the Balloon or Find Love, looking for a partner. What do you guys think about that? Put it in the comment section down below. And most guys popped because of that, because they felt the child was still young. You know, she probably needed time before she could really move on, because research also says that postpartum depression sometimes lasts until the child is 1 year old. I just feel like maybe for a man it's something totally different, but I feel like for a woman there's so many changes that goes on, you know, when we have babies. The body, the mind, and everything. I feel like as a woman you first need to heal, and of course the chaos. Being a mom, especially if you're a first-time mom, is not easy. You know, especially if you don't have a village, you don't have people around you. I don't know what her situation is. Like I said, people are different. I'm not judging. But what age do you think? What age do you think is appropriate for somebody to really just move on? Yeah, I felt like, in my opinion, this is what I think. I feel like the child is still young, and I do really understand why some guys pop because of that. But of course, Jeff, the guy with the dreads, I like what he did there. He actually asked her, would you be able to like stay at least just dating at least another year until the child is grown? I thought it was a great question, and he was being very considerate, really. Like, are you in a rush or something? Would you be able to like wait for at least a year before you know, we can get serious and stuff? Like, he mentioned about courting, like courting. I see he sounds Christian, because many times he was courting, not courtship, but courting the Bible. Like, many times there were times that he was, you know, referencing Bible verses and stuff. So that was actually so considerate of him, but unfortunately she did not pick him. And I think one of the reasons that why she didn't pick him was probably the height as well. I can't quite remember very well. But what do you think about the age of that child, the 1 year old? Do you think she was ready to be in another relationship, or do you think she should have waited at least for a child to grow and heal mentally? Because I mean, somebody I think mentioned that you never know, maybe the baby daddy or the daddy of the baby might still be in the life, or might still want to come back into the life and create the whole baby daddy drama and stuff. So obviously I do understand where the guys are coming from for saying all this. I don't blame them at all, because for me, I feel like a 1-year-old is still young. Whatever it is that happens between you and the father of your kid, maybe you just have to wait on a little longer, before you could actually move on. But people are different. Like I said, we heal differently. Some people don't even experience postpartum depression. So, well, good for her. I hope she finds a partner. Guys, let's talk about the guy with the grills. I think his name is Jay. That guy up there. So, poor him. So Jay was the youngest as well. I thought he had a very cool smile. Everybody loved his eyes. Like, the girls were commenting on his eyes, and he was very well put together, well dressed. But the grills, and he said they were permanent, so the girls didn't like that. I've seen that most girls on Pop the Balloon or Find Love don't really like, flashy guys. I think it's a lesson to every guy out there who is single, that you may never find anybody for being flashy like that, especially if you put something on yourself that is really permanent. Now, I thought Jay was, okay, he was the youngest, 27, but I just felt like, he was good looking, besides or apart from the grills, the teeth. He was good looking. He had a very beautiful smile. And of course, they were talking about the eyes. I didn't really see the eyes because BM didn't zoom in, so I couldn't see the eyes. And then another thing is that something that was funny though, I felt like he was a bit childish. The first girl actually he popped on the first girl, and the reason why he popped on the first girl is because the girl said the girl said she doesn't like liars, and then he goes like, I popped because you said you don't like liars. There are some people that can tell white lies. I'm like, dude, obviously if somebody says I don't like liars, they are referring to people who lie unnecessarily, even on small things. So I was like, something, there's just something about this guy. It's either he's just too young, or maybe he's not really trustworthy. But anyways, I hope he finds somebody, because on Pop the Balloon and Find Love, a lot of people are watching. There are people out there who do not have the courage or the means to actually come on the show. They are watching, they are DMing the people that are on the show after the show, and then people are getting their matches, or they are, getting their people outside of the show. So I hope that Jay also finds somebody. Anyways, yeah. Lastly, on this show, there were two beautiful matches. Sam and Dustin Jackson. I know some of you might be saying Dustin doesn't deserve Sam. Well, we don't know. Because of the comment of the psychology, we can't really conclude that he's a bad guy. I saw in the comment section people were roasting him. Yes, I felt that was unnecessary as well, but I felt like their match was really great. What did you think about it? Put it in the comment section down below. And then the first match actually was Tiara and Jonathan. I felt Jonathan was really kind, well spoken as well, and I like how he answered the questions, and very handsome. And I felt like that was also a beautiful match, that they're going to make a beautiful couple. That is, if it works out outside, because when they go outside, they discover a lot of things about each other that they don't like it. That's why I said the initial attraction thing is really it doesn't really make sense, because you don't know the person. You might pop based off initial attraction on the show, but then maybe outside the show the person is different, or you might like the person. So maybe the Pop the Balloon and Find Love, everybody that comes on the show should reconsider that initial attraction kind of thing, because people change, especially clothing and stuff, the way they dress. They can always change. These are things that somebody can change, but there are certain personalities that you can't change. I feel like instead of them popping based off initial attraction, they should first get to know the people, and then, learn to see what kind of people they are, because they might be popping on potential partners, really. So yeah, so as I was saying, the first match for me, Tiara and Jonathan, I think it was the best match. Yeah, I can't wait to see them on catch up. You know, when I'll let catch up with them and see what their story is and how far it has gone, and I hope that it goes far. Wishing them all the best. So, what did you guys think of the episode? I think the episode was dramaless. I think the episode was very interesting today. It was calm because all the lineup where both men and women were calm, cool, and collected, and very matured. I enjoyed watching that. But we do love some dramas as well. But we have been having a lot of dramatic episodes, and I feel like it was great to actually get this episode. What do you all think? Put it in the comment section down below, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. And this was Arlette and BN's Pop the Balloon of Find Love, episode 82 review by me, Sassy K. Bye bye.